cast. Some people say that's good or bad luck. I'll take it. Oh yeah. A little smallie. First cast fish. Well, it didn't take long. Some people say that's bad luck. I guess we'll find out. I don't really believe in luck. But if I did believe in luck, it would be bad luck. Ooh, little bluegills, sunnies. I think they just get the end of the Senko in their mouth. Can't really eat it. Here's one, maybe. Let's see. There we go. Little fella. It's alright, they're still fun. Number 2, just about like the first one. Alright, good morning. I'm out here at 4 locks on the river on the Potomac, and I'm going to do something that I've been thinking about for years. Man, that water's clear. Got my Christian liquor. We'll talk about that another time. And we'll do some fishing. But we're going to fish for fish, and we're going to fish for truth. So hopefully I can give you a little bit of knowledge of the little bit of knowledge I have of bass fishing and the Bible. A lot of grass down there. That's going to make it hard to fish this. So this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. Just haven't done it. Oh, I'm stuck in the grass. Imagine that. You know, I love to fish. Sometimes I feel like fishing can kind of get in the way of what I'm supposed to be doing as a Christian. Like I'm making an idol in my life. So sometimes I think, well, I got to give it up. And so I do that from time to time. I give it up a little bit. But you know what? I thought this time, maybe it's something God wants me to use. So why don't I do some fishing and talk about the Bible and God a little bit too. Who knows? Maybe people will watch it. Maybe we'll learn some truth. Because I'll tell you what, the world is confused on what truth is. Let me tell you. All you gotta do is look around you and see what's going on. And people just don't seem to understand what truth is. They think they can have their own truth. Problem with that is, if we don't have our own truth and my truth clashes with your truth, then we're all in trouble. So there is a truth that comes from the Bible, the Word of God. And so while we're fishing today, we're going to fish for some truth too. You know, the world's all messed up on morals and everything else. And you know why? Even Christians are. And I'm convinced it's because we don't read the Bible. I mean, we're Christian. We claim to be Christian. You know, Americans, I think about between 60 and 70% of Americans claim to be Christian. But only less than 10% read the Bible regularly. Now, how are we going to be effective at doing anything like that? I mean, if you're fishing and you don't know a daggone thing about it, and you go out to fish, you think you're going to be very effective? If you don't do a little research or practice or do a little reading up or try to figure out how to catch fish? I mean, Jesus said, you know, I'll make you fishers of men. How are we supposed to preach the word, share the gospel, live a Christian life if we don't read his word? So I'm going to do this from time to time. We'll see if anybody watches it, see if it bears any fruit. If it does, I'll keep doing it. But you know, one thing, if you know me, you know I'm adamant about reading the Bible, and I'm adamant about reading Proverbs. Well, let me tell you what today is. Today is September 1st. What a great day to start a reading plan. First of a month. Well, let me tell you how to do it. Get your Bible out, if you have one. If not, download an app, a Bible app. Go to the book of Proverbs and read Proverbs chapter 1, because today is the 1st of September. We do that every day. Every day. And if I tell you what, if you read that today, hold on, let me get some Christian liquor. Oh, it's pumpkin spice Christian liquor, because my wife is crazy. Again, it's only September 1st, and we have pumpkin spice already. But listen, if you read in Proverbs chapter 1, in the first few verses, I think it's 3 or 4, tells you what all it's for. It tells you what Proverbs is for. Okay? And what you're going to read is going to tell you that the Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, are to teach us wisdom. Okay? And it teaches us what is right, just, and fair. Well, let me tell you what. America is not reading the book of Proverbs. I can tell you that. Because if we were, this country wouldn't look like it does. We wouldn't be so confused about everything. I mean, who doesn't want to know what is right, just, and fair? Who doesn't want to know that? I mean, even if you're not a Christian, you want to know what's right, just, and fair, right? The problem is, if you're not a Christian, you try to find out what's right, just, and fair. The world will tell you, well, whatever you think is right, whatever you think is just, whatever you think is fair, that's what's right, just, and fair. Whatever you think, whatever you decide. Well, let me tell you, that's a load of crap. God has already decided what is right, just, and fair. And he's the only one that gets to decide. And if you're a Christian watching this, and you're confused about what is right, just, and fair, if you don't know what to do in a situation, what the right thing to do is in a situation, let me tell you, read Proverbs. If you don't know what justice looks like in a circumstance, or maybe with a situation you're dealing with, read Proverbs. If you don't know what fair is, you don't know how to treat people fair, or you think you're not being treated fair, you're not sure, read Proverbs. Because Proverbs tells you, explains, helps us to know what is right, just, and fair. So let's read it. I promise you, it's only going to take you 3 or 4 minutes to read the book of Proverbs. Jesus told disciples, cast on the other side of the boat, so figured I might as well try that. Listen, the truth is, if we read the book of Proverbs and we're consistent, and before you know it, we're just going to know what the right thing to do is, and what the fair and just thing to do is. And we're going to be able to take the knowledge that we have by reading the book of Proverbs, turn it into some wisdom. We'll be able to act on that knowledge. I was reading Proverbs chapter 1 this morning, and one of the things that I read and I noticed was at the end it talks about wisdom. Wisdom is kind of personified And wisdom says basically, you know, I called out for you, and I called out for you, and I tried to get you to join me, and you rejected me, and you refused to accept me. And I think we do that a lot. But then wisdom says, so whenever you're in trouble, guess what? It's too late. You had your chance. You rejected me. So whenever you're in trouble, and things happen in your life, and you decide you want wisdom, you want God, guess what? I'm not going to be there, because you rejected me. And what that made me think of, I tell you, we go through our lives and we just cruise along, and we might read our Bibles occasionally. Maybe we might think about God, we might even attend church once in a while, but then we live our lives, we go to work, we do all these things, have all these activities, and we don't really think about God. We're thinking about other things that we can do, we can get done, you know, fishing, you know, like I said, working, other hobbies that we might have. We completely forget God. But then when disaster strikes and something happens, well, then all of a sudden we're, oh God, I need you, please God, answer my prayer. And then we expect God to answer our prayers, because after all, he's a loving God, right? Well, I'll tell you, if you spend your whole life rejecting God, not considering God, not worrying about God, and then all of a sudden you expect him to help you in your time of need, but still in your heart you don't trust him, you don't believe him, you just want him to get you out of a situation, guess what? He's not going to be there. It's not going to happen. It's not the way it works. That's what we read in the end of Proverbs chapter 1. Listen, we have to fear God. It says that, you know, in chapter 1 at the end, it says we didn't fear God. You know, those of you that reject me, they don't fear God. And yet we expect him to just be at our beck and call, like a magic genie we can call on whenever we really need him, because we're in big trouble. Listen, don't work that way. The truth is, God desires to have a relationship with us. He will move in our lives. He will move around us. His Spirit will move around us. He will give us opportunities to accept him. But you don't know when that last opportunity is going to be. So we better be making a decision to follow Jesus, to make him Lord of your life. Because then, when things happen, we have a relationship with him, because we're reading his word, as we're praying, as we're trying to do what he tells us to do. And then we can have confidence that in our time of need, he's there for us. So I'm just fishing the Potomac River today a little bit, using a Senko and a grub. Check it out. Just a, what do they call it, a red crawl or a fire crawl or something like that. Senko. 5-inch wacky rig. Kind of hard with all the grass, but kind of want to throw it at the edge of the grass anyways. Try to keep it above it. I use a light line. This time of year, I mean, the water temperature is 75. I caught a couple this morning. See if we can keep it up. It's about 10:30. See if we can keep creeping up on them. I got a grub too, but that grub's on a jig head, and that's going to pick up a lot of grass. So we're just going to try and continue to fish this Senko. See if we can't get a couple of them. Generally, I don't have much luck on the river. Been doing a little better this year. My son did pretty good. He caught a 4-pound, a little over 4-pound smallie down here. I don't think I've ever caught a 3-pound smallie in this stretch. Just kind of letting that sink a while and shaking it. Don't want to get too deep in the weeds. using pretty light line because it's summertime. Finesse them a little bit. I think it's a 6-pound fluoro. So I'm certainly not a great fisherman, but I've learned a couple things over the years. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, like my sons and people I fish with, is they reel that slack in, what you got to do. And then sometimes they'll start pulling, they feel a little weight, and then they just set the hook. Well, a lot of times it's you're in the grass or you're stuck on a log or under a rock, and then you either break it off or you get stuck even worse. And so what I try to teach them is if you feel that weight on the lines, a lot of times you won't feel them bite. If you feel that weight on the line, you just slowly reel it in. Or if you can't reel it, you just kind of hold a little pressure on it. And if it's a fish, you'll feel pull back. Then you can set the hook. If you don't feel anything pull, you hold it for a little bit, you're stuck. So don't pull it too hard, and a lot of times you can pop it off there without having to break it off. Snap it loose. See here, I got a little bit of weight. Keep a little pressure on it. I'm pulling up, and it's not pulling back. I can actually feel it pulling out of the weeds. There's one. It's got weight. Oh, I feel pull. I just set the hook. Just like that. Oh. Oh, it feels like a good one. Oh, it's not bad. There, little fella. Come on. It's a pretty one. I will net him. Don't lose him. Not a bad one. There we go. Cool. I mean, he's not a giant by any means, but biggest one of the day so far. He liked that. Pretty little fish. About, I don't know, 12, 13 inches. Of course, this camera quit working. Alright. Awesome. Lost my Senko. He dug down and got me wrapped in some grass there. That ain't good with a 6-pound test. Now, I doubt you're gonna be able to see this, but when he took me down, he wrapped me around some grass. I don't know if you can see that little nick right there in my line. So you don't want to leave that, because what will happen next time is it'll break off. So here's another little nick. A lot of times when you're fishing the river, this fluorocarbon sinks. So you'll get these little nicks in there from getting stuck on the rocks, and then you might reel it, and might rub on that rock a little. Me and my oldest son were fishing in a tournament last weekend, and he got stuck in some rocks, and he messed with it, and he finally got it. Took him a couple minutes. And I said, listen, I said, check your line. What you want to do if you're not sure once you were stuck, is take your line, just run your finger down it, and you'll feel it if you don't see it. Right there. There's a little bit. So he did that, and he said, well, I feel a little something there. I said, well, then you better just cut it off and retie, because I said, we're in a tournament. And if you get a big one, hooked, and I mean, it'll break you off. And so he did. He retied what was like the next cast. Maybe a cast after that. He caught the big fish of the day, which earned him money. But it was 4 pounds, 11 ounces. And it was a good fight. But he had just retied because he had a nick in his line. And if he wouldn't have retied, I think there's a really good chance that that fish would have got off. So, you know, we're just fishing for fun today. But still, I mean, if you see that, you don't want to ever lose a big fish. So you might as well just retie. Take a couple minutes. Retie. then you don't have to worry about it. Happens a lot on the river. Not as much on a lake, but still. Another good thing about a Senko is you can skip it. I usually have to skip it from the other side. I don't know if I can backhand it or not. A little bit. You can skip it under docks and stuff. This time of year, that's pretty crucial because they want to be in the shade if it's sunny. A lot of times. See there? Now if you can see, I have weight. Yeah, see how I just reeled it real slow? And then it popped off. Must have been on grass. It'd be kind of hard to see. Eh. That's a key. I mean, if you want to catch more fish, I think, is to really determine what you're on, because a lot of times you can't feel these fish bite. If you feel a really good bite on the river here, at least up where we're at, it's usually a small fish or a bluegill. Grabbing the tail. These bigger fish just kind of suck it in real easy, and you don't even notice. You just feel weight on it. You gotta give that Senko a little bit of time to get down a little bit. We're fishing probably about 7 feet. This says 6, and it's down in the water a ways, so between 7 and 8 feet. And gradually get shallower. But you don't want to let it get down in the grass too much. Nice big rock over there in the grass. This time of year rocks aren't great, but still cover. Winter and fall rocks are better. They hold heat. See, I can't let that sink much or it's gonna get down that grass, get stuck. I got an exposed hook. Oh, see, there's some weight, see it? I think that's a fish, but I'm gonna wait till it pulls back. There it is. See how long I waited? Oh, my Senko, I wonder if I can get it. That sounds stupid, but man, those things aren't, oh man, they're not cheap. Man, they're just flying. $9 for a pack of Senkos. Actually, we got it for free, luckily, because we had a credit at Dick's. See how long I waited to set that hook, and we don't pull it out of their mouth. Dang, that pack of Senkos is gonna be going. I know I could use an O-ring. My buddies showed me another trick to do with some heat shrink tubing, I think it was. And I might have to start doing something, because usually I can catch a bunch on this, but I don't know if it's the heat or probably just the quality of the Senkos, to be honest with you. Everything's going downhill. Usually I can fish them and catch 3 or 4 or 5 fish with them. But that was near that rock I was talking about. See if there's any more around there. Again, just keeping it just above the grass so I don't get stuck in it. Oh, that feels like a better fish. Yep. Not a big one, but my second biggest smallie of the day. Not too bad. He ate it. Let's see, did he swallow the hook? Man, just barely. I might be able to get that out without hurting him. Let's see here. If I can't get it out without hurting him, then I'll just cut it off. But he just barely swallowed it. I mean, barely. So I might be able to get it out. I think I got it. Let me see. I'm just gonna cut it. Cut this off. Leave the hook in, it'll rust out, it'll be fine. Oh, a little smallie. Here, there's little sunnies, there's little bass. They like to grab the tail or the end of that Senko. And then you start reeling, try to pull them in, they let it go. You know, that's a lot of times, that's the way we are with sin. You know, Satan throws that lure out there, whatever it is, to lure you in, deceive you into sin. And we just, you know, we might mess around with it for a while, just tinker with it a little bit. And listen, the more we do that, the closer we get to getting caught. That's what sin does, man. Satan makes it look good. And I'll tell you, it looks like the world. And so we just take a little piece of it here, a little piece of it there, and he doesn't quite hook us, but eventually, guess what? Eventually he's gonna sink that hook right into us. And he's got us. So there's little sunnies, there's a little bass. Keep doing that. Keep growing, keep getting older. And eventually they're gonna take it all. We're gonna deceive them and catch them. The truth is, it don't take Satan a whole lot of effort to catch us. We have to be standing firm on the faith. Standing firm on our faith.